Now from the Toronto Star, Dave.
Hi. First question is for Mayor Tory, and that's you mentioned on CP24, I think this morning, that you've been flayed, heavily criticized over the decision to close High Park. And you mentioned in your remarks that most people seem to agree with you, or at least were following the rules. I'm just wondering if you have any second thoughts or any idea when the park will reopen, and also your reaction to the fact that at least a couple of people did not obey the rules and in fact were videotaped climbing and taking pictures in the trees overnight.
Well, I think the people that climbed the tree, and I can't imagine what appeal the concept of having a beer in a cherry tree in the middle of the night has, and then posting it on Instagram. I don't get that. But at the same time, I think they would be excellent candidates on Toronto's behalf to be nominated for a Darwin Award for their behavior. Having said all that, I think the vast majority of people, the vast majority, with perhaps the exception of those two, either stayed away from the park entirely, which was what we were trying to do, not because we're killjoys or because we didn't want people to enjoy the blossoms, but because we were nervous on the advice of the medical officer of health about the crowd scene and what that might do to spread the virus, and people thankfully stayed away. Do I have any second thoughts about that? No, because I believe that it was the right thing to do in the circumstances. I am certainly exploring if we're not able to open the entire park in the next couple of days, and there's some chance that the full blossom season could be over by then because it is short, as to whether we could reopen part of the park, but it was complicated for us to think about a partial closure from the beginning, which is why we closed the whole park. So we'll see how things unfold, most particularly the length of the blossom season, which isn't expected to last beyond some day later this week anyway, in which case the entire park will be reopened as soon as we reach that time. I would say in a city of 3 million people and on a 24-hour clock, that the fact that 2 people chose to engage in kind of pre-evolutionary behavior of this kind is something that I wouldn't be critical of our security arrangements in that regard. And obviously, they having done that, will be anxious to keep an eye on things going forward, because there's always copycats who, for whatever reason, want to engage in similar behavior. But I think that the public have been extremely cooperative, and I thank them for that. They've been very understanding, including the neighbors of High Park, and I just hope that will continue through a couple of more days when the blossom season will then be over, and we can look forward to enjoying the blossoms in person next year, and look forward to celebrating the really good, understanding, patient behavior that everybody else engaged in, except 2 people out of 3 million who, to me, have a couple of screws loose, potentially.